Fancy.
Oh. So I don't have kids of my own. So I don't have any personal connection or experience with fatherhood. But I have served a lot of children at my job. And I mean literal children, which I have no issues with saying I think are a waste of time and space in a fine dining late night restaurant. No issues with admitting that at all. But unfortunately, and this happens more often than not, the inconvenience of waiting on adults who act like children. And when people like that come to eat at our restaurant, it's just another day of the week. Let's get them in, let's get them out. Let's move on with the rest of our night. So after my frustration fades from having to deal with these brats, the feeling I have the most for these people is pity. I feel bad for them. I really do. Because people who act that way, obviously somewhere along in their development, they lost touch with their parents. They lost touch with their mom. They lost touch with their dad that should have taught them lessons, important things to live the rest of your life by. Because, you know, I have no alignment with these people because fortunately, my dad taught me some shit. My dad taught me that when you walk into a room, you walk in with your eyes open and your ears open. You listen and you learn and you proceed with a quiet confidence and you speak to people. You don't just speak to them and wait for your turn to speak. You listen. And when you express yourself, you do so with passion and respect. And I will admit, one of the hardest lessons that I learn day to day is you try to proceed as a gentleman, which again, I admit is something I'm working on day to day. So I would say the biggest takeaway from this is just trying your best and realizing that your parents, your mother, your dad are both very important. What I love about the show is it exposes us to people who often, purposely, we invite people who know more about something than we know. But what I like about today is that we have people talking to us about things that I have no experience in whatsoever. And I'm excited to learn what these two gentlemen have to say. Let's go, Ed.
Welcome to Fancy Bed. I'm Adrian.
I'm Ed.
And today, in this table, we have 4 men, 2 fathers, 1 recent, 1 more seasoned, 1 person who has no interest in having kids, and another one perhaps on the fence. Not sure. Let's see how this goes.
Here comes it goes.
Let's have a Father's Day conversation. Gentlemen?
Or as Adrian would say, a Father's Day chat. Salud.
To Padres Day.
Thanks for coming, boys.
Thank you. Now, gentlemen, I want to do this conversation in a past, present, future kind of thing. Over here on my left, I have Mauro. Tell us a little bit about your father experience. I believe that you recently just had your first kid.
Yeah. So my daughter in 10 days will be 7 months old. I myself am 22.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm kind of growing up with her in a sense. She's definitely taught me to grow up faster, for sure.
And what about your restaurant story? How long you been working in the industry? Where did you start it?
So
what
I
are you
started
doing now?
when I was 18
Right.
at a restaurant right by my house.
8 months ago when you were 18.
Yeah, pretty much. At a restaurant right by my house. That's actually where I met the mother of my child, my girlfriend.
Listen.
Well, when we were working, she was a bartender. I was a server. So that's something that this industry definitely has to offer. It could take you one of 2 ways with the ladies. Luckily, I went the right way. Very soon after, they were planning on closing down the restaurants. I started freaking out. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You know, like my plan, nothing against college, but just, that's just never been my thing. And so I got into fine dining, and that's how I met you guys.
Right.
Glad to have you here. Awesome. Chris, what is your father's story? How many kids do you have? How perhaps old are they? And tell us a little bit. Obviously, you've been here in the show. This is your 3rd time on the show, sir? 4th time on the show?
Yeah, I think it's about my third time.
Sit down on the show.
Third time, yeah.
Glad to
man.
have you as
Hey,
always,
listen,
brother. And what's your? If you don't mind telling a quick recap of your restaurant story.
First time poster.
First time poster, third time interviewee, and a long time listener. I'm a father of 3. My oldest is 11 right now. I have one that is 10, back to back, lethal weapon. I have my youngest is 6. I got into the hospitality business soon after I had my first child. It was always just a job. And then suddenly it over and then steamed into me actually making it a career. I think if it wasn't for my kids, like I probably wouldn't be in hospitality.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you also meet your lady in the hospitality industry?
No, I didn't, man. No, I didn't. And that's funny that Mauro said that because like I feel like I always felt like, man, I couldn't date someone who's in hospitality because I've been in hospitality. I know how it is. I know how you have to be with guests. And also I know how it is when you're working with people in such a small area or a small environment, bro. And it's just hard because you're seeing those people more than you're seeing your family.
Yep.
And it's just, I get it. I get it. I get it, and I understand human nature. But then I ended up being with someone that's in
In the industry.
So, yeah, I say that to say this.
I say that to say this. That's
It's
the
hard
thing,
not
man.
to, man. It's hard not to, man.
That's the thing. We've said this before on the show. It's like industry people like us, you may have a lot of non-industry friends. Fine.
Yeah.
But the majority of your friends are industry people.
Yeah.
If you're in the industry, if you're a server, a bartender, whatever, and most of your friends aren't in the industry, that says a lot about you. It usually says that you're trying to fight the current of who you are. Because who you are, if you're in the industry like we are, somebody who's making money, you're working at night. I don't care if you have a good lunch job. Good for you. You're not making more money at lunch in Miami than you are making money at dinner. So when you're working at dinner, you're working late hours. And I've said this before, you're working long hours, late hours with a very small group of people. And eventually, one day, if you're single, you're going to turn to one of your coworkers and you're going to be like, yo, what's good? What's poppin'? What's good? One day, whatever.
He did say if you were single.
If you were single,
Let's
have some integrity. Let's have some
If you're
integrity.
disciplined.
If you're disciplined, one day you're gonna turn to Greta or Maria or
Somewhere from Eastern Europe.
somewhere from Eastern Europe.
Somewhere from Eastern Europe.
You're gonna turn over there, and then one day she's gonna look at you, and you're gonna be like, "Yo, what's good?" Point is, a lot of industry people are with industry people because we work very obscure hours.
And you understand it.
Or those who appreciate dining out.
Yeah. I feel like it's more of an understanding.
Right? You mean
as well.
guests?
Yes, of course.
Right.
Restaurateurs.
Yes.
Oh, no, because there's all kinds of guests out there. There's foodies and there's guests.
Right.
There's different people out there. I hate it when people say, oh, I'm a foodie. And
I don't think people say that anymore.
we'll describe what a foodie is in another episode.
I don't think
shall
people
we?
say- I don't
But
think people
before
say
we
foodie
start,
anymore.
how about we do a couple more shots?
Absolutely.
And then I'll bring it into the first question, talking about the past. Now, I have different questions for both Mauro and Chris, since some of them are a little younger coming into being a father and someone a little bit more seasoned in being a father. And for us, we'll probably just throw some questions out there. The first one I'm going to start with is with you, Mauro,
All right, let's hear it.
since you sat to my left. And I asked, what was your favorite part of your pre-dad life that you didn't realize you would miss? And you're more than welcome to answer this one after as well, sir.
Oh, yeah, of course, man.
Go ahead, sir.
Being spontaneous.
Being spontaneous.
Being spontaneous for sure. And like just, I didn't realize how much time you have until I became a father. Once I became a father, I realized just how limited of a resource time is.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, because once you have a kid, you can't just randomly plan to do things. Like this podcast, I planned this a week in advance when we talked about it, and I set it in stone. On Thursday, 1 p.m., this is what's going to happen. And that's just the way that my life is now. In order to do out-of-home things, it takes preparation even more. To go to the beach, it's way more of a hassle. I have to bring diapers, bags, milk. If I want to go out to eat with just my girl and I have to hit up my mom the day before to watch the kid. And
That's cute.
so, yeah. It's
At least you have that backup, bro.
100%
That
without.
backup is
Right.
Oh, my
gold.
God.
That's cute.
Which
That
I'm sure the
is-
person to your left can attest.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, no, it definitely takes a village, man. When they say that, you got to have the right people behind you. You got to have the right people supporting you. Let me say, To answer that question, I've been so far in it. You know what it is? My life is way much better. I don't even know that's proper English, but my life is a lot better. Like the day I found out that I was having my first child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beforehand, I felt like it was more about me. It was more like, hey, yeah, what I can live with, I'm good. And it's not. It wasn't always the best thing. It wasn't always the best decision. But if I was able to live with it, then it was good. And now, when I have my kids, it's like, okay, yeah, that I've really found a purpose. And living life with a purpose is the best way to live a life. And I'm not saying that I didn't have goals or I didn't have things I wanted to achieve, but it was like it hits a little bit different when you find your purpose in life. And I felt like as soon as I had my first child, I was like, damn, hell yeah, this is my purpose. And then everything went from there.
Wow.
Beautiful.
What is something that you used to do in a restaurant when you were single that now you no longer miss? It's funny how every time that I've been wanting to reach my tea
for the tea, you go for the shot.
Initially, I go into my fucking drink, and I haven't drank in a while. So it's like, why is this suddenly calling out to me?
And we
Calling your name.
Whew, maybe I miss it.
Maybe you need to answer that call, brother. Instead of trying to front and go for that tea, go for that shot.
I'm just gonna do a little sip.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Yeah.
Get that in there on that palate.
Get that in there, Gabe. Please.
Yeah, I think it was one of those situations where I was like the randoms. You know what I mean? Like I felt like, oh man, I'm missing out on a lot of hunting. I'm missing out on a lot of hunting, you know. And it's just like one of those things where it really depicts on who you are as a person. You know, like I grew up with a big family. I have 5 of us as when it comes to siblings. It's like a situation where inside, that's what I really wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, but I learned this about you. You have a very big family.
I have a huge family.
So you have 5 siblings?
Yes, 5
but
of us.
how much extended family do you have?
Dude, okay, how about this?
Listen to this shit.
I have 5 siblings, 5 of us. My mom has 5 kids. My grandmother had 9 kids. Yeah. My great grandmother had 18. So yeah, they didn't have a TV back then. But
I was gonna say not a TV.
Wow.
That's just a lineage from, you know, my mom, her mom, and her mom. You know, like, and that's not what my cousins have. Like, I have so many cousins. But the ironic thing about it is it's not too many boys in my family. So it's like all girls. So those girls had certain amount of kids. Those guys, you get what I mean? And it's just like one of those situations. So I grew up in a huge family. So not having a family was never like something to me. I never thought I would be roaming the earth, not having a family or not having at least one child. So it's like one of those situations where, yeah, I think I was just built for the family type of lifestyle.
Like I said, I can relate to that one in particular, not necessarily because of the kids, but because I have a lady myself. And once I have a lady, I'm locked in. You know, I don't need to do that. So the restaurant industry is a great place to be if you're single and want to have a good time.
Oh, yeah, man.
And what's funny is that once you have that lady, it just rains like crazy. It's like, why are you all this time? Jesus.
Not to cut more off.
But in a way, it does feel good though. That's one of those things that honestly,
I definitely have something for that.
You know, it feels good. You keep them as trophies, but at the same time, you're like, yeah, I don't want to waste my energy on this anymore. I don't have the time for this.
Adrian, it's definitely like that. Like I didn't get into fine dining until after I was already solidified. But that's the crazy thing about it. Like seeing, I would say this, if there's one thing that like gets me like, oh shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's seeing like younger cats like Mauro, but not really like Mauro because he's already did what he has to do. But like seeing the young cats in the fine dining, making the money that we make as like a 22-year-old, 23-year-old, bro, I would be nuts. I would be nuts out here making this much money. With no kids, no responsibilities, bro, it would be a problem. All my homies was like, "Yo, Chris, you never really had money when you were single." I was like, "Damn, dog, you're right. You're right, bro. Like, it'll be a totally different, bro. I'll be Edgewater, 34th floor, going crazy, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Crash out,
like strictly, bro, strictly, dude. So it's like." You know, God knows what He had planned for me, bro. Like I couldn't
I guess,
imagine
yeah.
myself like that, dude.
I guess that also has to do a lot with the person too, because I mean, you have your responsibilities now, and you're making money now. But I feel like it's almost the opposite. I feel like even if you were making money when you were single, it takes a certain kind of person to. And again, I say this with just logic, not with experience, to be a father, especially to be a father of multiple kids, and to work, and to say to yourself, these are my priorities. So if you had it in you to do that, then even when you were making money, and again, this is all in retrospect because we don't know.
Yeah.
But I feel like even if when you were making money, if you were single, you probably still would have been level-headed.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes where everybody's going out and having drinks, and, you know what I'm saying? I'd be like, I can't. I want to, I can't. But you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of gets me sometimes in the moment. But overall, like the joys that I've had of fatherhood is outweighs anything that I've done in my life.
Nice. Now I have a bit more of a personal question to the two of you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with you. What is something that you thought you were ready for before your daughter was born that now you think back and you just find it hilariously funny because you were not ready at all?
Managing the relationship with my girl. Honestly, the hardest part of having a kid, I've come to realize, is not even the kid itself. All they do is sleep, eat, gotta change their diaper, and play with them a little bit. It's like managing and being the head of your household and managing that relationship with your girl. That's why like the rate of like absent fathers is so high, because that's something that's not talked about, that you're not ever really ready for until like the time comes.
It's like a time that life says to you, here, you're in charge.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no more training. There's no more manager telling you what to do. It's just, here, do your best.
Time to shine.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
I could imagine, bro, because you're so young, man. And I mean, we are in the grand scheme of things so young.
Yeah.
But you are young in the scheme of young.
In the
I
scheme
just
of
hopped
young,
off the porch.
In the young,
young,
I mean, I can imagine there's a lot of pros and cons for you. You know,
Yeah.
At pros, pros. You know, you have this beautiful new life, and there's some things that probably come easy for you. You know, you and your kid probably still share diapers. You know, you're so fucking young. But I can't imagine, bro. I can't imagine being 22 and having a kid.
I was 28 when I first had my
were
first
28?
one. Yeah, I was
28.
Which brings me to your
That's
follow-up question,
crazy.
Chris.
Yeah.
What advice would you give your younger self or someone younger than you about balancing work life and fatherhood? How did you manage to be there for the birthdays, be there for the New Year's Eve, all those dates that for a kid, they don't know. When I was a kid, I didn't know why my dad wasn't here.
Yeah.
I was just, where's that? That's it. Because when you're a kid, that is God. And then from God, it turns into an entertainment. And if that's not there, it's boring. It's like, where's that? So how did you manage to balance that? And maybe how can you help someone younger to possibly balance
Or a
that?
superhero, or dad's a superhero.
Yeah, that too.
For the secular family.
I like that.
I find that first you like idolize your dad, then you like demonize him, and then you humanize him.
Yeah.
After you demonize him, like there's a point when you're like a teenager, especially with boys, that like for some reason like this man is just like the worst person that exists. But then you become a little older. I just recently hit that phase when I was like 21-ish.
Like last year.
Yeah, like last year.
much.
Yeah. And that's okay. It's
Pretty
okay.
much, yeah. We're like
8 months ago.
we're like, and now like I'm cool with my dad again. I love him to death.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I would say this to piggyback off of what Mauro just said. I don't think it was never a demonizing, but it was like I have so much gratitude and so much, even I would say it's not even respect, but it's like I have so much respect for him now because I didn't realize what he was doing at that time.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like
the weight on his shoulders.
it's just weird because like once you start paying for shit, then you realize like, oh, this is a totally different experience from when I'm going there. You know
Yeah, but
what I
that's
mean?
the beauty of it.
Disney World. Like I told him, I tell everybody.
No.
That's my story.
You look at things or those experiences and you say, damn, they were doing this.
They were doing
And
this, bro.
mind you, inflation aside, you know, they were paying what they were paying.
Yeah.
But you know, the crazy thing about that is, yeah, you don't realize those things that your father teaches you
No.
until, and this happened to me a couple of years ago. I uttered a phrase that my father used to use all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck, bro? I'm becoming my father right now. And I used it during service. My father used to say there's no accounting for mass taste.
Yeah.
Which, if that's unclear to anybody, is there might be something that's popular, there might be something someone likes that whatever you don't align with.
Like espresso martinis.
Right, that you don't align with, but that's what they like.
That's what.
There's no accounting for it.
Yeah.
So I honestly, now that I say it, I deal with that shit every day at work.
Yeah.
Every day. Somebody orders the way I wouldn't order, drinks the way I don't drink, acts the way I don't act, which is a lot of how this show started. And I say to myself, yo, that's the way they are. I can't control that.
Yeah.
And then I say to myself, almost every time I think it, I go, fuck, bro, I'm becoming my dad.
Yeah.
And it's weird as fuck, but it's oddly enough, goofy enough, kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it is, brother. It is. It's a good thing, man. Once you kind of like see that, damn, you know, they actually made a difference in my
Right.
life.
Right.
Like I would be a total different person if they were not here.
Right.
Because growing up, especially as boys, we think it's all us. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we getting through this. Yeah, whatever. Help me out. Oh, you're not gonna help me out? Fuck you, dad.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but in reality, they are there behind the scenes, helping us out, guiding us, letting us fall, letting us pick ourselves back up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes helping us back up. But yeah, you know, it's one of those situations where unless you get into that position, unless you get into that moment, you don't realize it until you're actually there doing these things, you know?
Yeah.
Going back to that balance question, I say that obviously planification is key, is trying to plan as far ahead as you can to let know of your managers or your coworkers so that you can spend a little bit of those times with your kid.
What did you say? Planification?
Planification, is that a word?
I don't think so, sir.
Planificar. Plan. So I guess
Yo,
plan.
we're in Miami. We speak Spanglish over here.
We speak Spanglish here. Just a little bit extra to my lexicon, sir. So it's all about that planification, I guess, and trying to be.
I'm not even sure now, bro. Go ahead, continue. I'm
Yeah,
listening.
try to plan a little bit of ahead of time so that perhaps you can spend a little bit of those times with your kid because like I mentioned earlier, they don't understand what is that. Because at first, mom and dad, I heard this once in a movie and it just stayed true in my mind all the time. And it's mother is God in the eyes of a child, right? And so is dad. Dad is a superhero. You know, every time dad shows up, it's fun. We're going to have a great fucking time, right? And then suddenly the hero doesn't show up. It's like when Superman couldn't save you that once, and then you say, fuck your dad, right? And you'll get upset. Yeah. And that's kind of like how it goes into the present, right? And how sometimes we may feel about our father. So balancing your life and work, just try to think ahead, like Mauro here perhaps tried. And let's move it on to present tense, unless you want to mention anything about that.
Oh yeah, no.
Sorry, go.
Just talked about that balance. I feel like that's the reason why I stayed in the hospitality business, because of the flexibility.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I had a, regular 9-to-5 salary, some of those days I wouldn't be able to be there for them. So I feel like majority of the time, because I am in hospitality, I'm able to kind of like spend those moments and things like that. Now, I would say this, because of the job that I'm at, some of those like holidays, certain holidays that I have to be like, okay, half day, like I feel like I don't miss as much. It might be a holiday, but I'm not missing a birthday, or it might be a certain like special day or whatever,
Which might be on a Saturday.
It might be on a Saturday, but I'm near graduation because I already put the time in, I already asked for it. I feel like that's what kept me in the hospitality, because I had the kids and I were able to be like a little bit more flexible with my schedule.
And at that point, your coworkers, not employees, would be great because they will say, "I'll pick up for you so you can go to your graduation day, your kids' graduation."
Which job? Which?
See what
You know,
Which
because
job?
we've been
What job are you
talking.
talking
We've been talking about what makes a good
What employees are
coworker
you
versus a good
talking-
employee.
I've had some people
And
come
good
through for me
coworkers
heavy.
are the ones that will pick up for you.
yeah.
And
You're right,
before we
you're
move on
right,
to the
you're
next
right.
question, I think we might need another pickup over here.
Are we on to past or present or future? I don't know where
We're
we're
going to
at.
go into present right now, sir.
Present. Okay, so I have a question.
Go for it.
Do you two ever feel any sort of guilt that you have to be at work and you can't be with your kid?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what the guilt is? I think the guilt is more on who we leave our children with, as opposed to, not being able to be with the child, because obviously you're gonna, we grew up, our parents had to work.
Sure.
We understand what it means to have to go to work. Like now, like you said, Adrian, before, like I would see my dad sleep or see my dad go to work, and like for some reason that was so prevalent that majority of my memories is that.
Okay.
Yeah. But now, shit, my kids see me fucking go to sleep. My kids see me go to work, and it's just like, I understand now. And it has some empathy too as well. Cause I'm like, damn, this is definitely what my dad was going through too as well. But yet, the bills got to be paid. You know,
Just don't stop.
we still go on vacations. We still, he was present in the memories. Maybe not the moment, but in the memories. So I feel like that. Ooh, I like that, man. I have to write that down, man.
For the podcast, I was going to ask, what does Father's Day look like for you today at work and at home? I guess I'll start with you because this is your first time. So
Yeah.
you're
Man,
working.
Crazy thing about it is like, that's the only time that I talk all this shit, because I'm like, man, I do all this shit. But the crazy thing about it is, I used to be that child that gave my dad the fucking macaroni card. I used to be that child that made his gifts and spelt his name wrong and all that other shit.
With the backwards E and shit.
Yeah, exactly, bro. I used to be that kid. So now that I'm getting it, and I'm like, I want a fucking PS5, but they giving me a fucking, a brush with their faces on it. It's like, what the fuck? Or a tie with the fucking, with their names on it. I'm just like, I gotta be like, I gotta be like smiling and shit.
You ever
like,
seen the Chris Rock? What is it? What is it? Bigger and Blacker? Chris Rock?
Yeah. Of
He was
course,
like,
bro.
it's easy to read with all this light.
Yeah.
What do I get? The big piece of chicken. That's all I get is a big piece of chicken. But I guess you
Exactly,
get a
bro.
lot more than that. I guess you get a lot more than that.
Yeah, man.
Yes, your first Father's Day, you work, baby.
Yeah.
That's the restaurant industry for you. When you get that,
Right,
you're already
right.
baby. You can start getting.
By the way, I want to let everybody know that before we serve Mauro alcohol, we checked his ID. Just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows.
He made it by 6 months.
Yeah. He made it by a couple of hours.
he wanted to come before, but we said, nay, so you gotta wait. You gotta be adult.
21
This
first.
young motherfucker, bro.
Oh, to be young.
What is one thing your baby has done that you had to share with your coworkers?
Sit up for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like sit up and like hold your head up. Like for me, that was like a really
Yeah.
breakthrough moment. Like, because before she almost felt like a little blob that like I couldn't even do anything with.
Right.
And my girl would get mad. She's like, "Oh, why don't you play with the baby?
Little sack
what
of
am I gonna
potatoes.
do?
Little
Yeah,
sack of
but
potatoes, yeah.
we'll play with this little person that
Fragile, man.
it could barely look."
It frightens me to hold a baby. I hate it. People are like, Adrian, hold the baby. And I'm like, no. If you ever see a picture of me holding a baby, which I probably
Yeah.
have some, you see me with like,
You ever have dark thoughts?
And I
You ever have
swear-
those dark thoughts where you're like, if I hold this kid, I might drop him or something like that?
Oh, that's
That's pretty natural. Is that natural?
listen,
That's a natural.
Is that normal? Natural, yeah.
I may or may have not dropped my little sister when she was young. And she's a doctor now, so I guess that worked.
That's fucking terrible.
I'm assuming you did.
That's terrible. That's fucking
I
terrible.
guess that's not a may or
That
may
is
not.
terrible.
That definitely happened.
That I'm sorry. Sorry, you were saying
Yeah.
so
Sack of
standing
potatoes.
up, this blob, just very delicate,
Yeah,
beautiful thing.
Yeah, no,
and that's the one
then-
thing you have to like share with everybody. 'Cause, I mean, it's those little moments that I guess that count.
Yeah, no, like all of a sudden, like now she's like looking at me and like reaching like towards my face, and like I could hand her things, and she's like more interactive, and like
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, that was just like a very like
Hold on.
breakthrough moment.
What I asked him reminds me. It's just a question.
Good.
When young people come to the restaurant and they order drinks, what's your checking ID vibe?
Can I get a do you guys have margarita? Do you guys have sex on the beach? Do you guys have it's like those
No.
low
How
level
strict are you with checking
Mojito
IDs?
is the go-to for the young ones that don't that
How
tell
strict are
me
you with checking
tell me
IDs?
you're under 21 without telling me you're under 21. You ask for a mojito. That's why you look young and you ask for a
Because
mojito.
look, if nobody knows the rules with checking ID as far as servers are concerned, and we get like, how often is it we get the certified test and exam?
I don't know,
Maybe
maybe
every
six
6
months or
months.
something.
Yeah.
Right. So every once in a while we get like retested and the rules and regulations are refreshed for us.
Yeah.
So the general rule is you check for ID if someone looks like they're less than 40.
30.
30.
30, but that's okay.
Right. Whatever. But how strict are you with that? How strict would you say you are? I'll give you the answer right now, folks. You are as strict as you are busy. If I'm very busy, I have allowed some questionable cocktail calls. Not at my current job, obviously. At my current job, I'm strict and straight to the letter of the law.
ninja.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what you mean because I'm strict.
At your current job.
Oh, my current
Strict
job.
to the letter of the law.
The letter of the law. Every letter.
Never.
But at previous places of employment, I may have allowed one to sneak past the gate every once in a while.
Playboy, if you get in through that door, if we get through the door,
Now, Chris, is you.
Bro, there was a time at my old job where the bartenders mixed up strawberry daiquiri and rum runner into the like frozen machine.
Right.
All night we were serving rum runners to little kids.
Listen.
All night, the restaurant you were working at.
Listen, you can say whatever you want, but I've worked at places where we were dead and a group of 30 fucking kids walked in. And I remember this very, very, very clearly. A group of 30 kids from like Texas walked in and they were spending money. And dude, I served vodka Red Bulls to fucking 11-year-olds.
No, I'm talking like 5-year-olds.
11-year-olds. They must have been a day over 12 years old. And I looked at my general manager, my managers, and I was like, looking at them like, yeah? And they were just like, yeah, go ahead.
dude, I had a similar. Something so similar to that. Something so similar to that.
Not in my current place of employment. Let me be very clear.
We
My
don't do that
current
shit.
And my previous job has closed down. So.
my current place of employment is by the book.
Yeah. That is good.
I've had something so similar.
Now, I want to jump in and do a similar-ish question to you, Seth. Now, what is something your kids do now that reminds you, this is why it's all worth it?
Oh man, like my kids are super, like nice, and it's like sometimes I'll be like, man, don't be so nice. But my kids, but my kids are like the nicest kids, man. Thank you, please.
That's beautiful.
Hug,
me.
I love you. Excuse me. You get what I'm saying? Like it's just
That's because
one of those
yeah.
things where it's like you be like, you wear the stress and the tribulations of the day on your shoulder, and then they'll come in and be like, daddy, and it's not even asking, are you okay? But just like hug or thank you for this, daddy. I know I didn't thank you before for this, but thank you so much. And I'm just like,
that,
bro, like,
bro. If a
Listen,
grown man,
she looks at you with those eyes.
Bro, she literally
And she's
looks
always
at
saying
me.
thank you.
She looks at me like she's in love with me. Like her little eyes.
She is, man. She is, dude. She is, man. She is. It makes everything worth it, bro. And
Everything worth
guys, listen. I know you guys are still one on the fence, one saying, nah, I'm not going to have it. But trust me, there's nothing like passing on what you've learned to something that you've made.
Now, I want to finish the
all
present.
right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We can end right now, man.
I'm gonna close the present.
We can end right now,
Now, I'm
man.
going to close the present with a question for all of you.
Yeah.
What is your current relationship with your father? We'll start on this side and bring it back here.
So me and my father had a very choppy relationship growing up, and into like my teen years, it was just straight god awful. But ever since my girl got pregnant and I started realizing like everything that he went through, now our relationship is solid. Solid. I made it a priority to hash everything out and have him in his grandchild's life because
That's awesome, bro.
Nice.
You get one dad, bro. You get
That's awesome,
one
bro.
dad.
It's pretty cool.
That's
That's it.
awesome. You
Chris?
can't hold that grudge. Be honest with you, my dad has been one of my biggest supporters ever since I first told him. Like, I feel like when I first found out that I was having a kid, I was like, oh shit, should I tell him? Like, and I'm 28. I was 28 at the time, so I'm just like, oh shit, what am I thinking? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just that if that tells you how the relationship has been. You know, my family is super strict, but you know, there was room to be human. You know, at a certain age, my dad would tell me, you know, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to give you advice. And I felt like that was the best thing he ever could have told me.
Yeah.
Because it was like a situation where I'm like, I'm telling motherfucker, tell him what to do. I'm a grown man,
Right.
da, 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 da. And this is not when I had a kid. This is like 17, 16, 17, when I was just
Right,
going
right,
through
right.
it, man. You know, and it's
You
just
think you
like,
know it all.
Exactly. And my
Right.
dad was like, you know, it wasn't no, oh, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to give you advice. You do it, da, 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 da. And then when it came into fruition, when I was like having my kid, and he was still like, yeah, you know, that was his thing. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to give you advice.
Right.
When it comes to your kid, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you how to raise your child. I'm just going to give you advice. I'm going to be here for you whenever. And I think that approach right there opened up for me to continue to talk to him as I'm seeing like, damn, man, like, I wonder if he went through this. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if this was a situation. You know what I mean? Like,
Nice.
I'm no longer with the mother of my children. And, you know, I only have one mother of my children. I ain't like that. But it's like, I'm no longer with her. And I know that was one of the things that my dad didn't go through. But still being able to go to him and talk to him about that situation and have him not tell me what to do, but give me advice was everything for me. So
Right.
now, like, I understand what he wants his role to be.
Okay.
He wants to be granddad. He wants to relinquish some of that leader of the family, leader of the pack,
Right.
to his kids, so he can just relax and
Pass it on. Pass that
it
torch on.
Yeah, pass the torch on and relax and just spoil his grandchildren. And that's where I'm at with my relationship with him. I want him to
Nice.
be able to just be grandpa, spoil your grandkids, even though I'm gonna be the number one hater, because it's like, it's different from being your mom to grandma. Mom and grandma, two totally different things. Dad and granddad,
Yeah.
two totally different people.
Right.
You get what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna let him enjoy this granddad, because I know for a fact when I get to that point, and if I instill the same things in my kids that my dad instilled in me, that when I become granddad, I be like, yeah, fuck what your dad say. Nigga, I'm granddad. Fuck what your dad say, man. I'm granddad. Nigga, granddad over here. You feel me?
I built this.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
WOU without
So,
You're the cool. You're the
I'm
cool.
letting him
You're gonna be the cool
enjoy
granddad.
that.
You're gonna be the cool
Yeah,
granddad.
Bro, I'm letting him enjoy it now.
Right.
We have an amazing relationship. Only thing that he kind of gets at me about is my grilling technique, but he's been grilling for years. So it's like,
You'll get there. You'll get there.
I'll get there. But nah, man, I can't. I'm with my kids, with everything that I've been through after my kids, there's not like one horror story that I can tell you, because I've been just so blessed. I've been so optimistic about everything that's going on that I don't see it being a bad situation. I see it prevailing.
Right.
So
Nice.
yeah.
You know,
I mean, I feel like you said, it's all about counting your blessings.
Yeah.
I know there's a ton of people out there that have poor relationships, non-existent relationships with their parents. I feel extremely fortunate that, I mean, I have a great relationship with both of my parents. And it's like you said, you'll do things and you'll realize, shit, I'm becoming my dad.
Yeah, man.
The way that I am is based a lot on my relationship with my dad. My dark sense of humor, my sarcasm, my wit. My dad instilled in us greatly, like, focus on education. And from that education, I've gotten diction and grammar, and it's allowed me to mix my upbringing in New York and Washington Heights with a formal education. And it's all this is a cocktail recipe for who I am now. When I can look at someone who's important or affluent and stare them down and talk to them and make them realize, you're not here. You're not at fucking,
Yeah.
this isn't Applebee's.
I totally get what you're saying.
You're not at Applebee's, right? And it doesn't even matter what I'm wearing. Like, where I work, we wear something formal, but I could be wearing a t-shirt, and I could speak to someone who's affluent, who does big things. And because of, I mean, a lot of other things, but very, very importantly, because of my relationship and my interactions with my highly educated father, I can speak to anybody.
Yeah.
And those discussions with him have allowed me to create a framework for how I treat other people.
to planify how you work with other people.
I Googled it. It's not a fucking word. Mind you, it's not a word. But yeah, it's like one of those things you said. I think the important thing is it's your responsibility to pass on the torch, as it was your father's responsibility to pass on the torch. If I ever have kids, that's the goal. The goal is to instill in them what was instilled in me, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Right? So, I'm sorry for people who don't have a relationship. It's not my problem. It is what it is. But I'm fortunate to have that relationship.
I think that life has a way of sharing with you the things that you need at the time when you need them. That's just the way life works.
Yeah.
I found this the other day and I couldn't find the exact words. So I kind of like, what's the word you use when you quote something, but it's not the exact words? Paraphrasing?
Sure.
When I'm paraphrasing this. So it says the ways that you see your dad in your lifetime, right? And at first you see him as a god, as someone that deity, someone that gives you life and gives you all these things. Then you see him as a superhero or entertainer, someone that it's always bringing joy, good times, challenges, good and bad, things that you look back and say, wow.
What did you say? First you idolize, demonize, humanize. I like that.
Then at a time it looks like a warden, someone that says no to you all the time. He's like, why are you telling me no? I'm not with the talk, right? And then is absent. But it's not absent because he's absent. It's absent because you make him so, right? It's a time where you want to say, I'm a big man or a big girl. I know what I want. I know what I want to do. And that's the big gap that you take with your fathers. And it's interesting that I've learned that this is something that they're also aware. They know. And they say, you got to figure that out the same way that I figure that out.
Right.
And that's when, after that, you start seeing your father as a friend and as a mentor. You start to truly see this person as a human being. And that's when you say to yourself, oh, shit, I guess I was hard on you for nothing.
Yeah.
And it's now it's my turn. And then he just looks at you and says, yeah, welcome to life.
Welcome to be the head of the household.
Welcome to
man.
being an adult, sir.
Right.
And this is just the
Grown
beginning.
man, yeah.
So I have a question for everyone here. Well, not everyone, not you or me, for them.
Yeah.
What has being a father, whether it's new experiences or older experiences, how have those experiences, whether it's one or many, helped you do your job?
I've become a lot less reckless, for sure.
A lot less reckless.
A lot less reckless now that I know I have like people counting on me, because for me it's easy to take risks and come to terms with loss. Like before I was a dad, I didn't mind getting fired. Like I'd tell you, go fuck yourself real fast.
Yeah, I've been through that.
And now my daughter, helps me see a lot more.
She's at the top. Well, what about
Reminds me of that Homer Simpson where he put the stickers on top of the plaque that said, you are here forever. And then he changed that and said, do it for her.
Wow.
You remember that?
Wow.
It's a beautiful scene.
Wow.
Yeah. So it tells you,
I really watch
like,
The Simpsons.
for a moment you tell yourself, I am doing this because it's not for me. I have some responsibilities. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to.
I think Mauro hit it on the head, man. It's like when you have a reason why you're doing something, that reason kind of like straightens you out. My reasoning was to be able to take care of my family and kind of mimic the things that my parents did for me. Not just my father, but my mom too as well. So it was like one of those situations where my parents would work, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like they would work. It was 5 of us, so they would have to work. My dad had 2 jobs growing up. My mom was the main face of the family, and not just because my dad wasn't there, but my dad worked,
Right.
Yeah,
And he was doing what he needed to do.
He was doing what he needed to do.
100%.
And I felt like once I was a father, who am I not to do that? Who am I to say that I'm better than that, as opposed to not doing that, not being able to work 2 jobs, not being able to be the face of the family, not being able to provide for my children, and also show them what sacrifice and responsibility and character is. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those situations where, I had to step it up. I had to rely on these amazing examples that I've had my whole life and utilize that into raising a child, and then luckily I found out that it wasn't as hard as everybody made it seem to be.
Yeah, I understand. I get that.
I got a phone. How does your father feel about what you do today, about your job?
Oh, I can answer that. You got it?
You want to go first? You want to go? You're excited. Go
I'll
ahead.
piggyback off you.
Yo, my dad, at first, my dad he wasn't, I don't want to say he wasn't with it, but it was like, they're old school, blue collar,
Yeah.
My thing was go to school, get a great job, and don't go to jail. That was like the basis of my raising in the 90s. And then, you know, hospitality never really was respected until, I would say it's not respected as
not.
much as it
this
needs
day.
to be to
To
this
this
day.
day.
But then, like, it took him seeing my taxes
Right.
to realize, oh,
Right.
Looking up something. He's cooking right now.
Yo, I'm talking about.
love it.
I was like, it was like a situation where I never told people. I never like when I started coming up in the game. I never really told people like what we make. And
No,
even
bro,
now,
and I never
Even
will.
now, I
Yeah,
never
yeah.
will.
I never will, bro.
But then, like, we was doing, I had to send my taxes to their tax person, and the tax person was like, "Christopher, like, you know, what the hell is this?" And then my mom, you know, they told my mom, and then my mom them called me, and they called me to the house, bro. I can remember the day when they realized it. They called me to the house, and they like, I'm thinking they about to tell me somebody's sick or something. The way they
Right.
put me in the room, it's like
Right.
they're like, Chris.
It's true, man. Yo, people have no idea, man.
You only work one job, right?
Right.
That's all you do, right?
People
And it
have
was
no
like,
idea,
I was like,
man.
yo, they actually, it was like, you really made this much?
They have no idea.
You really made this much? I
have
was
no
like,
idea.
Yeah.
You know where that
yeah.
hits harder? You know why that hits harder for us? Because we live in Miami.
Yeah.
Because Miami is the town of the hustle, the town of the side gig, right? It's not the town of the W-2. It's the
Yeah.
town. It's the town of the car, of the apartment, of how
Watch.
right of the watch,
girl.
of the,
The
girl.
girl.
That's what Miami's about. So I'll be honest. Like coming up, it was like, what do you do, Ed?
Yeah.
I'd be like, I swear to you, I'd be like, oh, I work in restaurants, because I had to deal with that stigma,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to get into it with people.
Yeah.
Now, I don't give a shit what the situation is. I'd be like, I'm a server. Because I'll let your upbringing and your ability to have an open mind
Yeah.
dictate how that conversation flows.
Correct.
Because you have no fucking idea.
No.
I would say most of the people who I talk to, I make more money than them. There's obviously tons of ways to make money nowadays, especially Miami. But in Miami, what we do, we're in the I would say in the country.
Bro. We're blessed.
We're blessed. We're in the top
we're-
1%.
We're blessed, bro.
Cheers to that, my
It's the
friend.
absolute,
Cheers to
it's the
that.
absolute truth.
I wish I could take this 2% somewhere else, but I can't.
Can't do it.
What was
I can't,
another
bro.
one?
I
Bro,
can't.
really?
I'm 21. I'm 22.
Wait,
My-
21, 22.
22. I'm
Yeah.
22.
Freshly.
We
22.
gotta check it out.
My girl is a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
I live in Miami Beach.
Right.
I drive a nice car. I never went to college.
Right.
To be quite honest with you, I dropped out of high school.
I can tell.
Like,
And you got
But,
a weak, and you got a
know,
weak,
it-
and you got a
it-
weak pullout game
You know,
too.
it goes. It shows a great point that fathers, you know, they're the breadwinners. They're the ones that, or at least before. Nowadays, things might be different, right? But that's one thing that they care for is, can you provide for you,
in our
your
instinct.
loved ones, your family, and can you help out, right? So I had a
Right.
similar like situation. Now I was home in Puerto Rico with my dad in the car, and I asked him. I said to him, "Dad, how do you feel about what I do?" And he said, "I like that you enjoy what you do and you found something that you're really good at and you're happy, etc. But I just wonder if if you do well." So I showed him my W-2. He took a deep breath, and from that moment on,
he knew
Pay for everything, bro.
he knew the man was.
No, but it's funny because he would say, "Oh,
giving you advice
one
right
of
there
my,
and
one of my daughters, she's a nurse. Proud of you, sis. I fucking love you." My other,
You mean
my
the one you dropped on the head?
No, not that one. She's
The other one.
she's a nurse. The other one is a doctor.
The other one is about to graduate medical school. I'm also proud of you as well. The other one's
Right.
about to go into police force, and my brother is a handyman. He does everything. You know
Right.
it. So he can talk about that with everybody. He's like, "Oh, I got a nurse. I got a." And then when it came to the other one, he's
Got
like,
a
"Oh, he
server.
works in a restaurant." Now he probably does. Oh, the other one. Oh, he's good.
Yeah, he says you first.
Because even he knows.
Says you first.
No.
Says it
Because
first.
he knows now. He doesn't need to like talk too much about what I do
Yeah.
or oversell. He's like
Yeah.
and my youngest. Oh, he's good.
Oh yeah.
It works in a restaurant.
Yeah.
I had a question for you too.
Okay.
Obviously, this might be a little bit more difficult for you.
Okay.
You know, because you're 11 years old. I'm going to give you a couple of fathers from movies.
Oh, I'm done. I'm going to stand up for this one.
And I want, if anybody doesn't know, Adrian has seen 3 movies in his whole life, right?
I love them.
Two of them
Kind
are
of
like
on the same page.
2 of them are. You're not a big movie guy,
A little bit.
right?
I
But
watch enough.
these are popular. These are popular. Okay.
Yeah.
So which movie dad do you best identify with, or which one do you feel like, hey, you know what? That's what I'm going to shoot for.
That's funny that you say that.
It's funny because you kind of had an answer.
It's very
for that
specific.
One.
Which
Go
one
for
do
it.
you shoot for? Okay. Adam Sandler in Big Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Denzel Washington in He Got Game. Chris,
Don't look at me, man.
You get a chance to be Denzel?
hold on, Chris. When I was writing this list, I was like, fuck, I hope Chris doesn't think I'm talking about him. I'm just talking at you.
Denzel Washington, after he got out of prison and his son was going to the league.
You never seen He Got Game?
No, bro.
Obviously, I have.
Right. So for your answer, it's worth doing a quick description.
Yeah,
He Got Game.
It's a great movie.
He Got Game. The protagonist of the movie, Ray Allen, Jesus Shuttlesworth, is a big prospect for college basketball. The college recruiters, Denzel Washington is in jail and he's his father. They're like, yo, listen, we'll give you a pardon if you can convince your son to go to this particular school. So they let him out on a pardon, and he's like, he's estranged from his son. So he has to convince his son to go to a particular school. So I digress. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Chris, I swear to you, this is a coincidence. Furious from Boys in the Hood. You ever seen Boys in the Hood?
No, they never did.
No.
You ever seen Boys in the Hood?
That movie's older than probably both of them.
Classic gangster movie. Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne has to raise Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah.
in the fucking hood of LA.
Oh, I seen that. I seen
Of
that.
Watts.
Yeah.
Has to raise him in the worst environment possible. And he has to struggle to instill in his son good values in a horrible environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
So he's the one telling him do A while the whole environment is saying
Right.
do B.
Yeah.
Right. Okay?
So I seen that.
I'll repeat all of these if you forgot them because I got 2 more. Right? Marlin from Finding Nemo. You might know that one.
Yeah.
Right? Or
I know that one.
or
Just keep swimming.
or
Or
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. Wow.
Darth Vader. So the options are Adam Sandler and Big Daddy, Denzel and He Got Game,
Sorry.
Furious, Boys in the Hood, Marlin from Finding Nemo, Darth Vader, Star Wars.
I think
you can
he's
throw your
more.
curveball. I don't
I
give a
think,
fuck.
I think Mauro is more Big Daddy.
I swear,
I think Mauro is more Big
You want me
Daddy.
to be honest with you? I didn't write this list until I saw you walk into this apartment.
I think Mauro
Until I
is
saw
more
you
Big
walk
Daddy.
into the studio, I didn't write this list. I said, first question is Adam Sandler and Big Daddy. Have you seen Big Daddy?
No.
Big Daddy is about Adam Sandler being completely dysfunctional human being. All of a sudden, he has a kid. How he got the kid doesn't matter. He's got a kid, and he has to figure out how to be a father to this kid out of nowhere. And he himself is a kid. He's a kid, and he has to figure out how to raise a kid. Right? Denzel, again, estranged father in jail, has to convince his son to do something for his benefit, even though he hasn't influenced his son in a long time. Okay? Furious, Boys in the Hood, you remember. How do you make your son do something positive in a very, very tough environment? Marlin, you know Marlin. You've seen Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
That's the one when you saw, you probably, And then Darth Vader, who again is a father who has to, from a distance, try to see his son and think about what he's going to do when he finally gets the chance to influence his son.
And what's the Finding Nemo, Marlin? He just
Helicopter dad.
overprotective?
Helicopter dad.
I got it.
Helicopter dad.
Got it.
Yeah.
I mean, feel free to drop in.
Chris,
If
whatever
you
you
throw
answer,
your curveball, I'll give you a fuck.
I'm not going to say
Yeah.
that's what you should have answered.
So what are you gonna
It
go
could be anything.
You start with your curveball.
I'm so glad I'm glad you asked this, and not to digress from the actual picks that you have, but I always was like, if I'm going to be a dad, I'm going to be like Michael Cow from My Wife and Kids.
My wife and kids.
I feel like his method of fathering was like so different that it fit his character. You get what I mean? It fit his personality. So it's like I always, and that's crazy. I never really it was always after my dad, my own dad. But like, if somebody was like, if there was a father on TV and it's actual TV show opposed to a movie, what type of dad was you? And I felt like, oh, Michael Kyle, I'm going to manipulate and fucking mind fuck the shit out of my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like that's I think that's me. It's always going to be some kind of, there's going to be some type of plot to everything that I do with my kids. That was it. But if I have to pick out of the ones that you chose, I would say in the beginning, I was definitely Finding Nemo's dad. I was definitely in the beginning, don't fall, keep going this way, stay safe, stay out the light, don't do this. You get what I mean? And if you get lost, I'm going to go to the earth to find you. That was me in the beginning of my fatherhood. And I'm not saying that that's not me now, but I've released the reins a little bit more. I'm letting them, because they're older, I'm letting them have their experiences. I'm letting them have their experiences and still trying to guide them, but also letting them have their experiences. So I would say that I've graduated too furious. You know what I'm saying? Like I graduated too furious in the sense of like, I know what's going out there, son. You know what I'm saying? I know what's going on out there, but it's your choice.
Right.
You get what I mean?
I'm going to give you advice.
You have the choice. Yeah,
I'm not going to tell you what to do.
I'm not going to tell you what to do. And I think that was like really and now me waiting for you to choose might have me over here. You know what I'm saying?
With the metal balls?
It might have me going crazy. But I'm going to stand. Yeah, I'm going to stand on that. I'm going to make sure that you understand that I was given those choices. And my dad let me decide whether or not which way I wanted to go. So I'm going to give you that same. I'm going to give you that same.
I didn't date this correctly. I feel bad because again, Mauro, I'm sorry. I improvised this list, but I should have put shit like Frozen or
man. No,
What
bro.
do you got? Yeah. Hey, let the young boy talk.
As a movie enthusiast, I think you did like all of those phases of those dads.
I grew up watching those dads, bro.
All those phases are phases that every dad go through.
Oh, okay. I have a cool question after you finish it up. I'm gonna take.
What do you think, Mauro?
Go ahead.
So me, it's away from your list, but me and Adrian had talked about this before.
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead.
I would relate most to Paul Walker in the Fast and Furious. In the Fast and Furious.
I'm waiting for this one. Go ahead.
Why? Because before I had a kid, I was a very reckless individual.
Wow, that's good.
Right.
I'm gonna get a little vulnerable.
So Brian Spielberg.
No, they're vulnerable right now.
No, that's what it's about, bro.
Listen,
talk about that.
No more tequila for you, bro.
Before I had a kid,
No, wait.
I would do-
Don't incriminate yourself.
Yeah.
Don't incriminate yourself.
There you go. Hey, comes from
listen, listen to him, bro. That's why I'm thinking about it.
That's from my life before my kids.
Listen to Furious, sir. Listen to
That's
Furious.
coming from the life before my kids.
Chris.
That's why I'm taking a
Don't
moment to
incriminate yourself.
think my vocabulary real quick.
Let me out, man.
Go on.
But let's say I was inclined to take risks that had reward. Okay. Without caring for the consequences later on.
Okay. So are you talking about like Fast and Furious 1?
That's the story before he was
before he had the kid.
Yeah.
Before he had the kid.
Exactly.
Right, so you were in the Evo. You were in the green and blue Evo.
Yeah. He was jumping off of tankers, off of trains. But then when he had his kid, it's like, I'm gonna stay at the compound with
I'm gonna drive a minivan.
I'm very intrigued about where this is gonna go. Go ahead.
That's a great depiction.
Go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
that's good.
I mean, I'm not gonna jump too far into it because
No, please
Jump forward. Just
Fuck
forward.
that.
And
Fuck
now,
that.
After being reckless,
Jump
now,
into it.
exactly
And now-
after being very reckless, now I'm very much the simp that will drive my kids to school in a minivan. Probably not a minivan because I'm very into cars.
Okay.
So it'll never be a minivan.
Right.
You sleep.
But
Listen, I don't know about you, but I love being driven in a minivan. Oh my God, it's the best thing in the world. When that Toyota Sienna Uber comes over and the door does the
It's like somebody opened the door for you, but a ghost. It was actually a ghost.
And usually it's when I'm about to go to the airport to go see my mom or dad.
That's funny.
And I'm like, oh yeah.
Right.
Open up to the Sienna. Now again, it's not for who's driving. It's for who's being driven in a Sienna, baby. Keep going.
Yeah.
It's the alcohol. It's the tequila. Go for it.
I ain't got
tequila.
nothing to say, bro.
But yeah, definitely Paul Walker. Going from really reckless and getting myself into some shady situations in order to make a bag. And now like you see in that one scene, he's driving his kids to school in a minivan. He's completely dedicated to his wife. Honestly, me and my girl have this very interesting thing where we promised each other, and this might be controversial, but it's just what's worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
We promise each other that our relationship will always come before our kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we came to the conclusion that like if our relationship is A1, by default, our kids will be okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's
You know?
true. That's good. That's a good way to look at it.
The Paul Walker character, he lives up to that very well. So
Dude, that's awesome.
Thank you for sharing that.
Nah, no, Mauro. That's a good ass fucking comparison. Because like nobody really realized that because soon after that he died, so it really was written out of the movie. But like nobody realized how, unless you're a father, that part of the movie, like. If you ask people in general, like, damn, unless you're like an advocate of Fast and Furious, like, damn, Paul Walker did have a fucking kid. Like, you remember Vin Diesel had one, but then it was like, wait, Paul Walker was the family man in that moment. And it's like that moment where you're like in the fucking, after he dropped off the kids, and he's like, what the fuck has my life turned to? It's like a lot of fathers, they go through that instant, especially if they was living for themselves before the kid. And then all of a sudden you have to turn that selfishness off and be selfless. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's why a lot of people are absentees. That's why a lot of people, don't be in their kids' life.
Or don't commit to saying, I want to be a father.
Because they can't turn that selfish lifestyle out and become selfless. So that's, hell yeah, man. I respect that.
You weren't expecting that one, Bridget. Now, speaking of actors, I'm going to bring it to a question that we can all answer. What is one actor that to you reminds you of your dad?
My dad.
Whether physically, visually, or in a role. It's okay.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Is there one actor that you like? I don't know why when they're asking
I know.
Because
go for it. Let's
now
let Edwin talk.
my current perception of my dad is a combination of my appreciation for the things I didn't understand, and my always ongoing but current maturity level. So, but one of my strongest memories that's interesting for this question is the demonizing period of my father.
Yeah.
And when that was active, my dad was fucking Jack Nicholson in The Shining. That motherfucker was a tyrant. He was a demon. And
but you know what maturing is?
why you laughing so hard, bro?
I'm sorry. Maturing is knowing that he was pushed to that. Maturing is knowing that he wasn't like that in the beginning. He was pushed to that. So imagine that. Who pushed your dad into being the
Me. Probably my mother a little bit too.
That part was maturing. That's what maturing.
Well, I'll give you time to think about your answer.
Oh, I already know my answer.
You want to throw your answer?
No, go ahead. If you want to do it around the corn or
Let's do a round the corn. My dad, whenever I see Kevin Costner, I think of my dad.
Oh, not the bodyguard.
From Waterworld? From Waterworld?
My dad had this. Because to me, he had this main character energy. Like the plot moved with him.
Right,
he was always just looking good in the horizon. And
but any specific movie, though? Any specific movie?
No specific movie. Not specific movie, since he has such a broad range of movies.
I'll give you that.
Every time I will see him, I'll be like, yeah, it's that. Like that's the main character. That's the guy who's like moving the plot, and it's gonna save us all. Everybody hates working with the guy, but everybody loves to see a movie with Kevin Costner.
But you could have said the Waterworld too. Maybe my father was Kevin Costner in Waterworld.
Was it?
The Mariner, misunderstood, cold, but maybe he was just looking for someone to like bond with. I don't know.
There's two movies that I think about it when I think about Kevin Costner, and that's one is Waterworld, and the other one, for some reason, is The Postman. That guy who saw an opportunity, took it, made it his own, made a big name for himself, and in the end, he's just a dude trying to do the best he could. He found a uniform, he put it on, and now he has a purpose.
I thought he was going to say Mr. Brooks. It's like my father was like Mr. Brooks. Man of the Year, serial killer.
Since you said you have one, go for it.
Oh,
What do you got?
oh, my dad was definitely, not to just like cut it off like that, but my dad was definitely James Earl Jones. Like the voice, like his voice as a kid was like, no, as me as a child.
Yeah, the voice is that's the voice of
it was
Mufasa,
like,
right?
Yeah.
go
It's
ahead.
like discipline. It's like
Darth Vader.
It's like, okay, when you hear your dad, you straighten up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like back
It was like
straight.
it was like that for me too.
Whenever you could be fucking around, just hey, and it was like as a child, he was known for his voice, and then when you're getting older, you start to realize, damn, how great of an actor he is. So you start to see him in different genres. Like now that I'm older, I realize how funny my dad is.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, and it's like in his older age, James Earl Jones started doing like more comedy. Like he started off in plays, more focused, more serious things. Then like you start to see his comic relief, his comedy. Like, oh man, he can be a comic actor. And now it's just like, now that he's older, it's like you remember his legend. Now it's like, okay, hell yeah, man. I remember him having the voice of everything. I remember him being more funnier too as well in these type of movies. And now that he's older, I can just appreciate everything that
That's why we don't have alcohol.
He's put together. So I feel like
Motherfucker's
it's
had 2 shots. He's knocking glasses over. Thanks.
damn, this guy's range is he can't miss. You know what I mean? It's like whenever you think that it's supposed to be a situation or a character that he's not really supposed to hit.
No more for you. No more for
he
you,
hits.
bro.
And it's just like that's what it was with the
more for
moments
you.
in life. It's like when you think your dad wasn't going to hit. Damn, I wasn't getting Jordans growing up, but I know what a vacation is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know the great
God.
thing about this episode?
What?
We haven't talked about a restaurant in 20 minutes. And you want to know something? It doesn't fucking matter, bro. It
I
doesn't
feel
matter,
good, man.
bro.
Thank you for allowing me to give my dad his flowers. I appreciate
There you
that,
go. Hey,
fellas. I
listen, it's all
appreciate that.
about today. Be
careful.
All about fathers. Mauro, did you have an actor that resembles your father?
Yeah.
Or
So
reminds you of
for better or for worse, I'd say Brad Pitt, because my dad is straight up like a ladies' man, and my dad actually used to be a model in Mexico, and we found ourselves in a bit of a situation because of his ladies' man appearance in Mexico, and that's why we had to come to the States. But yeah, I'd say Brad Pitt, man. My dad's a good-looking guy even into his later years.
I mean, we can imagine him.
Later years.
Go on.
Later years. He's probably like 40.
It's my right.
Later years.
Let's move this into future. And I just have a couple of quick questions that are going to be a little bit fun. Do you see your kids going in the future to eat in a restaurant like the one you work on?
Eat?
Yes.
Oh, they want to go now. They ready to go now.
All right.
And the crazy thing about that, bro, I grew up birthdays at Pizza Hut. You know what I mean? Like whenever,
Those are the best birthdays,
bro,
Dude.
like we had Pizza Hut buffets, so it's like unlimited. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and now my kids asking for truffle corn and shit. Like, what the hell you know about truffle corn, man? Get out of here.
Right.
Is that Wagyu? Is that steak Wagyu?
What the hell do you care?
Yeah, bro, yeah.
When I was a young kid and we would win a baseball game, they would take us to Pizza Hut. That was the pizza for winners, bro.
Bro, you
And
couldn't.
that was like a sit-down restaurant Pizza Hut. That was when Pizza Hut was like the thing.
You know what's funny? about
When
you
we
saying
would
that?
lose,
That's
we'll
crazy.
still have pizza, but it wouldn't be the winner's pizza.
Yeah, if
Hut
you
pizza.
lose, you
It'd be
get
like,
Domino's
It'd be
or
like,
Little
the
Caesars.
corner pizza. And it's still good. Thank you that. But,
know?
it wasn't the winner's pizza.
I think Pizza Hut should pay us for that, bro. We came up with a new slogan for them. Pizza Hut. The pizza
winner.
for winners.
How, and this is a question, I guess, for you and the future you, how do you stay connected with your kids as they continue to grow older? Or
It's
how
hard,
do you
man.
plan on doing that? Because
It's hard.
the time is coming. Because there was a time when you separated from your parents. We all did.
Yeah.
How do you plan on staying
No,
in
I
touch?
feel like it's hard, man. My parents, they were more hands-on everything. So we were taught, go outside, Now it's so techno-forward that it's like to send a kid outside will be putting them behind the 8 ball.
Right. It's like a
Realistically, you know what I mean? Realistically, yeah. I had to tell my daughter the other day, go get some fresh air, bro. Get off your iPad. Now I'm not one of those parents that have technology at the dinner table or whatever the case may be. No, that's definitely not it. But I'm not.
No iPad
I'm
kids
not.
over here.
Yeah, no iPad kids over here. But it's just like I'm not naive to the point where Like I know that the future is whatever it is on those iPads, and the kids have to be a part of that. So kind of like to connect with them, it's different, man. Because I grew up playing sports, physical sports, dangerous sports. So it's like to kind of want my kids to do that, and knowing that they might not have that in them, you know, might not have that fight in them. It's that's what I'm battling with now. But I kind of let my kids come to me with what we connect with, you know, and however I can kind of figure out how to connect it. You know, I don't push what I like or what I enjoy onto them, because that I feel like sometimes that'll push them away.
Which must be difficult.
Oh, it's super difficult, bro.
Right.
Like that's like, oh, I grew up playing football, but now my boy wants to play soccer. I have no idea
With soccer,
Right.
yeah.
But at least it's
is
a
or-
sport.
But at least it's a sport. Yeah,
Right.
obviously, at least it's a sport. So I can kind of teach you how to be a competitor. I can do that. But in a sense of being hands-on, hey, here you go. This is our connection. This is how you're going to forever remember me. I think that is kind of like dead now. You know what I mean?
Nice. I can slightly relate to that because my older brother, who's 1 year older than me, he has 2 kids, and you know we talk often, like every other day. And he mentioned once how he wanted to watch a movie with his kid, and he's like, I want to watch this movie, and sure they watched it, and he's like, no, we gotta watch a movie that I want to watch, and I want you to see it. And it was Rush Hour, and the kid was like, no, I want to see it, and they didn't ended up seeing it because sometimes kids just don't want to. They don't want to be you at times. Only when they grow older, they realize, damn, no matter how hard I try, I'm still him.
Yeah. Oh,
You know?
yeah. No,
I remember
definitely.
we had a family reunion once, and all 5 of us, we were just hanging around, and all of us, I say to them, look at Dad, look at him over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I say to them, we're all him. The only thing that makes us different is how hard we try not to be him. That's what makes us unique. Because the reality is that in the end, you are your parents, bro.
Yeah.
Little by little, you become your parents.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I think. I'm not sure about you.
No,
A little bit
you're
more
right.
experience.
No, you're definitely right, bro. I mean, that's all you know growing up when during your sponge time. Like now, when she says like his daughter looks at him with love, like she's looking at him to see what to do next. You know, but you don't realize that when you're a kid. But like everything that you do, you know, your daughter's looking at and your kids is looking at because they don't know what to do. I remember when my first child laughed for the first time in her life. And it was such an emotional time for me because I'm realizing like, yo, that's the first time she ever laughed. And it's like, I take laughing for granted. Like we take laughing for granted all the fucking time. And I'm like, holy shit. This is the first time she ever laughed in her whole life.
Beautiful.
And I was just like, and it was from something from what I did. I was like, oh, I'm the funniest motherfucker alive. Like, it made me feel like the funniest motherfucker alive, bro. You know what I mean? But it's like
a superhero.
those things right there, man. Those things right there is what, you know, what being a father and what
you do
being
it for.
a parent is all about, man.
This is something that I've actually put a lot of thought into, even before this podcast. Like that's something that's concerned to me a lot because me and my parents started splitting paths very early on because of this. And for me, I came to the conclusion that I'm going to take a lot of interest in whatever my daughter's passionate about. That for one. And then second, I'm going to try to stay young for her as much as I can. Like I'm going to try to stay up to date with trends because the older we get, it's inevitable that we're going to be like, these kids, they don't know what they're talking about. What's this clothes that they're wearing? Or what's this music they're listening to? Or whatever. And that's something that I'm going to try to personally not fall into my later years when my daughter's a little bit older.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I was a kid, my parents rejected my interests and passions so much that I was just like, all right, like that's what you feel. Like, I think it's different. Like the world is going in a different way. So guess what? I'm going to follow my gut instinct and how I think the world's going to go because you're old. So like, screw what you got to say.
Right.
So that's something that I'm going to try to work on because even now I'm only 22, but like sometimes whatever trends like 17-year-olds are into. Like I'm just like, bro, you're a jit. Like what are you talking about? Like you sound like a nerd. But as all of you have seen, exactly where we work, a lot of the times the people that are ballers that are spending a lot of money are people that have tapped into new trends, new interests, and whatnot. So that's something that I'm planning for. I'm gonna try to take
embracing.
Yeah, that's solid.
I'm gonna try to take a lot of interest in whatever my daughter's passionate about, and I feel like that'll be a good way for us to stay connected even into her later years.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you'd like to give a future dad in the restaurant industry?
You're not going to be there for everything. So just be there for the memories, not the moments. You know, don't worry about the times that you can't be there. Just be there as much as you can. You know, like we are in the industry of flexibility. We have the most flexibility of any career. So just utilize that. Utilize that. Realize that there is a balance in being a parent and being a person, you know, and just respect that boundary when you have that, when you come to it. When you come to that line where you need to be a parent instead of just who you are, respect that boundary because you're going to have plenty of time to go back to being who you are.
Yes.
And then for me, I would say, as people in the hospitality industry, we tend to fall into a lot of like traps, almost like quick money lifestyle, you know? And when you have a family, that doesn't always really go hand in hand. If you're gonna be a dad, like let's say your girl's pregnant right now and you're on your way to fatherhood, be very communicative with your spouse and be like, even though this is how I make money and I make us a lot of money fast, like I'm still gonna be here for you and I'm gonna respect you. I'm gonna respect you. You need to have that with your spouse. They need to be 100% sure that like you're gonna respect them when they're not there.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. It's important. I tell my lady all the time, babe, this is how I make money. You know, I do this, I do that. And in no way or shape, that is an offense to you.
Yeah.
That is just how I make money.
Yeah.
And I bring it back home so that you and I can enjoy this.
Right.
So that we can
Slippery
have all these
slope, yeah.
things, so that we can have our trips, whatever we
Trips.
decide. I just need you to know that I do hit on some girls when I'm at work, but that's not me, baby. It's just me trying to make some money, okay?
Oh, this guy,
Don't be
bro.
upset. Just me. You know? You want to say?
Yeah, guys, I'm just chilling.
Yeah, my bad.
I'm
Hey,
just here
listen.
chilling, guys. I think it's important for people to understand that if you listen to this episode, again, like I said, we spoke about restaurants for 20% of this episode. And what's important about that is for people to understand that, yes, these two gentlemen and a lot of you are fathers who work in the restaurant industry, but you're fathers first. What's important is that you're a
100%.
father and those responsibilities that you have to raise your seed. So again, this is about them sharing their experiences, making people understand, as I've said before, that in this restaurant industry, as goofy as it sounds, we're all brothers and sisters. Like we all go through the same shit. These guys are proof that they deal with things as a new father, as an experienced father. When they go to work, they're thinking these things and they go through these experiences. So Adrian and I didn't have to say much. It's about what they have to share and the connection that they're making with all of you out there who are dealing with the same thing. And other than that, again, I'm just chilling. I'm here, guys.
I'm doing last call.
Yeah, so I kind of want to hear about you guys. Like, how first, do you see more kids in the picture?
Yeah, no, man. I definitely, like I said, I'm from a big family, so I've already gotten past the fear of having kids. I know what it takes to take care of them. I have the drive for it, the passion for it. I'm a big believer in, you know, that's the meaning of life, man. It's passing down, you know, everything that you learn so it can keep going. So, yeah, I definitely want to have more. I'm not opposed to it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But, like, you know, it's sad. It saddens me when people don't have kids out of fear. Like I get it when, you know, you feel like your lifestyle is a certain lifestyle that you want to have, or, you know, you just don't want the responsibility. But, you know, I feel like as soon as you find out that you're going to be a parent, all that shit changes. And you can be so embedded on, nah, I'm not having one kid. I'm not having this. I'm not doing this. I can't see myself. And that could be whatever you tell yourself. But until somebody says, you know what, I'm pregnant. What you want to do? Let's keep it. Figure out that. All that shit, everything that you said that you would never do, you change. Because I mean, you'll do it. You'll call yourself a liar for a woman or a man. You know what I mean? Why not do it for a child, you know? And I just feel like, you know, you shouldn't be scared not to have kids.
That's you.
No, I'm
He
going
don't wanna
clockwise.
ask the question.
How do you feel about kids? What does your future look like in that realm of life?
I'm closer to having a kid now than I ever have been. And by that, I mean mentally, emotionally.
Yeah.
I'm more prepared to have a kid now than I ever have been. And I can't fucking stand kids. So that goes to show you where I am.
Yeah.
I'm as close as I ever have been, and I'm not close at all.
I don't think you need to like kids to have kids. Like, for example, like,
Right.
to be quite honest, I don't like kids. I don't like other people's kids. Like, I
Right.
just don't like kids. And one of the worst things I could think about is like a kindergarten classroom, a bunch of sticky fingers and crayons all over the place.
Okay.
But my kids, like, bro,
Yeah, I know. I get it.
You know,
I think I'd make a good dad. I think I'd be
so
a
too.
great dad.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I'm not against having kids. I think it's my life has shown me that it's all about who's the best at adapting.
Okay.
Not the best. The white picket fence thing
like that.
doesn't exist in our world anymore.
No.
It's about adapting.
Yeah.
It's about what's happening today. How can I make today the best it can be?
How can I frame myself the best?
Right. So I think should kids be in the picture? It's more circumstantial to who the other person is in the picture.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I feel like should that happen, I think I'll be fine. I feel certain that I'll be fine. It's just not. I'm not having kids today.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Today I'm not. Today I am not a father.
But it's something you're open to.
Let's see what happens, brother.
Awesome. And yourself?
Hail to the Nasser. And I know
Really?
that you guys have spread some beautiful, beautiful, heartwarming messages. But still, my friend, I got nephews, and that's going to be enough, Dad. You better get used to that. I believe that although I really appreciate the two of you repopulating the earth, somebody has to. It's
Dude, you will be
I
an
believe that-
amazing girl dad,
listen,
bro.
Girl,
Oh,
girl
bro,
dad,
bro,
100%.
you will
I've
be
been
the
told
best
that
girl
my
dad
entire life.
Ever, bro.
Listen, I've been told that my entire life. But however, I believe that there are many ways for you to positively help or influence the world or your life or the people around you. And that's what I'm focusing on. Do you want to do a shout out to your ATP, or you think this is too personal?
Oh, they already know what's up, man.
All right,
you guys
cool.
go find out, man. We got a Kickstart coming out for our ATP game tool as well, man. It's just pushing literacy on children. You know, we just want to make sure that every kid out there knows the importance of reading and understanding what they're reading. So check us out, man. The ATP show, the Appraise the Phrase show.com is our website. But yeah, man, we're just doing big things for kids, and we're just trying to have a purpose in life outside of what we were meant to do. So, yeah.
Thank you for that.
I want to
Sure, go ahead.
shout out.
Share it, brother.
If you guys follow me on Instagram, whoisruzo, I've been fixing people's credit. If you guys have any negative things on your credit, whether it be repos, evictions, collections, things you went late on, I would love to help you out. So
That might be a little too different.
yeah, it might
No,
be
I'm just joking.
out of there.
We
But
appreciate you
I'm
sharing.
just joking.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, man,
And
appreciate
sharing
it.
some wisdom on what it is to be a dad. And of course, more importantly, happy Father's Day.
thank you.
Yeah, no,
All right.
thank you, brother.
guys.
Thank you.
Jim?
Thank you so much.
We're ready to go, brother.
There you go. Let's drop the track. In the end, I do have a message to everyone listening and watching. And that is, call your dad. And I'll share my example with you. It's a simple thank you, sorry, please, and again, thank you. And to those who unfortunately don't have that person so that you can call them, either write a letter or just say it out loud. Here we go. Dear Dad, first, thank you. For I see now that you did all you could when you could. And that's all I could hope for. Secondly, I'm sorry. For I'm still young and naive at times. So it took me a while to understand that you're not God, but like me, a man. And as men, we want things. And in such pursuits, we try, we prepare. Sometimes we win and sometimes we lose. But always we learn, adapt, and improve. Like Grandpa used to say, pa'lante, forward. And third, please, pass on to me the knowledge that you feel I need. But take it easy on me. You know how extra we can both be. For I am your son and very grateful to be. So happy Father's Day, Dad. And to everyone else to whom it applies. And of course, thank you for listening.
Take care, everybody.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe.